Hello, students. I welcome you to the second part of our March month. In the part one, we have seen the IBC, right? In completely insolvency and bankruptcy code. Now, in this part, we will talk about some miscellaneous stuff, starting with the special economic zone. So very famous. In fact, it's been in the news. Always, it remain in the news. Why? Previously, it was in the news because of the ineffectiveness. Overall, they have not been able to serve the purpose for which they have been designated to. Um, then last year, Baba Kalyani Committee was set up for the revitalization of these SEZ. Right? Okay. Then currently, it is in the news because of some other factor. We'll see. Right. So, what are these special economic zone? So, special economic zone are basically within India a place which will be served as a duty-free enclave, as if it is not the part of India, as in terms of the economy, right? So, it will be deemed as a foreign territory for the purpose of trade, operation, duties, and tariff. That means it will be treated as not part of India. So, many of the laws and everything will not apply to that, right? So it will be treated as a unit that will be exclusively focused for the boosting our exports. Okay, right. So we had a policy in 2005. Finally it has come under a statutory act, SEZ 2005, and currently we have 241 around operational SEZ. However, does it mean that they have been overall ineffective? For example, if we see, so exports from SEZ's exports are growing at a faster rate than exports from the overall country. That means obviously they have proved to be an asset in terms of our exports, but however, the costs that are laid down by government, for example, going foregoing many of the taxes and all these things, with respect to that, that much growth is not there. Okay, so for the main exam, it becomes imperative for us to prepare what is SEZ, what is SEZ to find, but what are the problems with SEZ, what are the steps being taken, and what are the way forward. In the way forward, you can always quote the Baba Kalyani Committee. Okay, from police perspective, we have read that Tripura got, you can see there is no SEZ right here. Then Tripura got his first special economic zone that we have already read before. Now, currently it is being used because of the NFE, that is net foreign exchange rules. So when it was set up, they have set up this NFE. Okay, what does this mean? That ultimately the criteria or primary requirement of SEZ unit to be eligible for the benefits, if it is there, they need to have a net foreign exchange. That means export should be more than the imports. Okay, subtracting the value of imported inputs, input services, capital goods, along with the value of all the payments made in the foreign exchange from the value of the exports. So ultimately they should be profitable in terms of their exports. However, though the idea seems good, right, that if you are part of SEZ you should be doing this, but the transaction costs are more, and now it is also challenged in the WTO as a export subsidy. Now when it is a challenge export subsidy, then India has to change its strategy for the SEZ, and for that they have also committed this Baba Kalyani Committee. So many of the recommendations are really good. For example, they started reincarnation of SEZ as an employment and economic enclaves, 3 E's. That means the incentives to these SEZ should not be given on the before criteria, rather on the criteria that how much employment they generate. Okay, how much employment they generate, how much inclusive they are, how much growth they portray, right? So in that format, how much manufacturing output they put. Okay, so before criteria should be exchanged by these criteria. Then he talked about the connectivity to the remote special economic zones, because one of the problem with the special economic zones, that many of the special economic zones have been set up but without any criteria that how they will be linked up to the major roads or major railways. And many of time it has been considered as a political ploy also. So many of the politicians set up their SEZ in their own areas. Okay, and that is creating the problem for the economic viability of those SEZs. So he is saying that if we have those SEZs, then at least provide them very good last mile and the first mile connectivity. Okay, then replicate the success of the ITES. So healthcare and all these sectors, ITS success should be repeated in the special economic zones. Then he talked about greater ease of doing business. For example, simple entry and exit, time bound online approval, dispute resolution, which is a big problem in India, right? Overclocked judiciary, lack of proper internet dispute resolution systems. Then avoid competition among the similar schemes. For example, dedicated freight corridors or NIMZ, like that. So he said, because of this, our resources spread thin because we are investing on so many things. So at one place, we are not able to provide intensive focus. Okay, so when we are not provided to incentive focus, all our resources are spreading thin, so we should not do that. Then Sunrise list for the focus diversification. We must diversify our SEZs. So for example, biotech, see Sunrise sector, biotech, engineering design, there we should focus. Okay, then engineering design, for example, you can see our Sardar Patel's unity of Statue of Unity, the engineering design being done from outside. So we need to put these people in our SEZ. Then okay, this is being just repeated. Okay, right. So we have already discussed in our June month the difference between NIMZ and SEZ. Okay, some of the criteria are different. NIMZ is also defined under the is an industrial township under the constitution, so it is not treated as a foreign territory. NIMZ, the origin of the NIMZ is also from the national manufacturing policy. Some differences are in terms of the areas are there, right? Exemptions are different. Okay, the nodal agency for NIMZ is DIPP, so please do revise from that. Then we focus on Nidhi companies. Next topic. So Nidhi companies are what? So it was in the news because some regulatory changes are being made in the Nidhi companies to make them more transparent and investor friendly. Okay. So what are these Nidhi companies? We have given some passing reference in the last in the February month. I think in the January 1st video. While discussing that NBFC regulation, different regulations by NBFC. So NBFC, Nidhi company are type of an NBFC. Okay, so they are incorporated Nidhi company with the objective of cultivating habit of thrift and saving among the people, so that people save and lending to its people. So they people save, they deposit, and they lend money to the people for the mutual benefit. It is registered as a company under the Companies Act. Then who is the regulator of this? This is an NBFC. So majority of the NBFC have read they are regulated by RBI. Some are regulated by SEBI, and this is miscellaneous NBFC. So this is regulated by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. Remember that, huh? If the question on Nidhi company will be asked, they will definitely ask about that. Who is the regulator of this? So they are regulated by Ministry of Corporate Affairs. So RBI also have the power to issue directives to them related to the deposit acceptance activities. However, actually they deal with only their share members. So who will be the members of the Nidhi company? People deal with that only. So RBI says, okay, they are exempted from the core provisions of the RBI Act and other directions to the other NBFCs. So a relatively lax regulation is there, right? Next, very important topic, taxing global technology companies. So taxing companies like Google, Netflix has been a tricky task. Okay, so the government has brought in, actually before in 2018 they have brought in this one. Just 1 second here. In 2016 they have introduced a equalization levy on the companies like Google and Facebook for online advertisement. It was 6% of the equalization levy, right? So in 2018 you can see a question also with reference to India's decision to levy of equalization tax of 6% on the online advertisement service offered by NRI. What are the following statements are correct? Okay, we will discuss this question. Let us discuss first the topic, right? So recently it's in the news. So new rules have been applied that all the companies with the sales of more than 2 crores in the previous financial years, they have to give the equalization levy of 2%. Okay, so it will be a sort of a direct tax which will be held at the time of the payment of the service recipient. For example, just give you a very rough example. So you pay for the Netflix, right? For example, I paid 1300 for 1 year. So when I pay to them, some sort of money will be deducted as a tax and that will be given to them. Similar is how income tax is paid to the people. So a company pays salary to the people, right? So for example, 30,000 is salary, 10% they cut and they give a 27,000. So this 10% is a income tax. Similar is that. So it will be withheld at the time of the payment of the service recipient. So when I pay for the service, then some money will be deducted and that will go as a direct tax. Okay. So 2% of the equalization levy will be set up. So India hopes that it will garner around $100 billion of the global taxes, because the companies like Amazon, Netflix, Google, Facebook, these are there operating using Indian market. So they are trying to get up some revenues from these companies. Okay. Now these are also expanded to the expanded the scope stretches beyond the goods and service supplied to the Indian resident and includes supplies to any person using Indian Net Protocol address. For example, a foreign citizen who is in India while visiting India uses the Indian IP address is also covered. For example, you're ordering any service from .in, Amazon.in sort, right? Then you will have to pay this service, whether the foreign national you or anyone. Okay. However, as we discussed, it is we should know that this is not a part of income tax. It is a direct tax, but it is not a part of income tax. Plus, the taxation which is there will not be favorable treaty. For example, we have done many DTAA, double taxation avoidance agreement. So it will not be applicable to that. For example, they are paying some tax in the USA. They cannot claim that what we are paying in India, we will cancel it up. No, that will not happen. So double taxation avoidance agreement will not apply to it. In fact, we have discussed double taxation avoidance agreement in detail. Okay, so it was started in 2016 with equalization levy. It was termed as a Google tax. Okay, so very easy question was there. It is a part of the Income Tax Act. No. NRI, other advertisement can claim tax credit in their home country in their double taxation avoidance agreement. No. So answer is D. Okay, so these are the subtle details you need to focus. In fact, these details such as which are related to taxation and which are in fact related to with the concrete entities such as Netflix and which the presence can be seen in a very common parlance, these information and these news become highly relevant, right? So one more proposal is there apart from that equalization levy. Other proposal is there, the significant economic presence which companies are there. So the government will create a mechanism for the fair share of tax from these companies which do not have the physical presence in India, but they have significant economic presence. However, this has been announced that in this budget, the government has said that we will defer it to the April 2021. So not important for our this year prelims. Then we discuss fully accessible route for government securities. So for government security, fully accessible route. So what is this? So basically the RBI has said that any NRI who wants to invest in the NRI or any non-resident, not NRI, not Indian, sorry, not Indian only, any non-resident want to invest in the government security, so he is able to invest through another route they have opened, that is called fully accessible route. That means that there is no investment ceiling to it. And the RBI will notify some specific government securities for that. Okay, so the RBI will notify that these are the government securities which are open to you for unlimited investment. So any non-resident people can invest in that. Okay, right. It is called a fully accessible route. So if the question comes, fully accessible route is in the news, so it is with respect to the RBI, some specific government securities they will provide so that any non-residents people can invest in there. Okay, so in this route, non-resident people can invest in a specific government security without any ceiling limits. So that means currently there will be some options are there in which the ceiling limits will be there. Answer is yes. So currently two routes are there, we'll discuss. So one route is that they can invest but up to 6% only. Okay, now in this particular fully accessible route, domestic investor can also invest. So first route we have discussed that middle term framework and the FPI limit is 6% and under state developmental loans for 2%. So investment into the state developmental loan is 2% and the government security is 6%. The other route is called voluntary retention route. Okay, what does this mean? This means that if someone from outside wants to invest for a longer run, so they can invest there. Okay, the rules are easy, there is no cap or something like that. If they want to remain invested for a long period of time. Okay, so what is important to us? If the question comes, question will come only on the topic of fully accessible route. What is that? More important it becomes that government securities. So please prepare what are the different types of government securities, right? They are the debt instruments. So you have to prepare from your very static notes of what are the government securities, what are the different time periods are there, what are called T-bills, gilted securities and all these things. Please prepare for that. Okay. Next is LLP settlement scheme. So LLP we have already discussed, but Ministry of Corporate Affairs has recently launched LLP partnership settlement scheme. So what does this mean, settlement scheme? So government is saying that okay, we will provide you some time, we will provide you some sort of relief if you have still not filed all the data, all the proper documentation with the registrar, then you will be having immunity from the prosecution if you again, if we are giving you the time, if you do it. So what the time they have given? From March 2020 to June 2020. Okay, so they have said, okay, if you do that in registration in between, you will not be prosecuted, otherwise you will be prosecuted. Okay, what are these LLPs? So LLPs are basically LLPs are said to be in between instrument between partnerships. Not very important for us, but for commerce students and all, partnerships and between the companies. Okay, so what the benefit they take? In the partnership there is unlimited liability. In this is the limited liability. That means if something bad happens to the company, then in the partnership your own personal assets can also be taken under the custody. In the limited liability partnership, if your partner does something wrong, then your contribution to the company only will be considered. Your personal assets will be saved, first thing. Then in the company you have to appoint directors and all. In the LLP you don't have to do that, right? So it's a very flexible legal and the tax entity that allow partners to benefit from the economies of scale by working together and also by reducing their liability for the actions of the other partner. In the partnership there is a limit that less than not more than 20 partners can be there, but LLP no such limit is there. Okay, so it is said to be the hybrid between the company and a partnership. I think this much is enough. We don't have to read a lot of it. Companies are regulated by the Companies Act and LLP are by the contractual agreement between the partners. Okay, then next port, very important. So Vadhavan port is in the news. It will be Maharashtra, so it will be near to the JNPT port. Okay, Jawaharlal Nehru port. So in Maharashtra, so it got a green light. So currently we have 12 major and 205 minor and intermediate ports. Interestingly, in last 30 years, only 2 ports have been built. Only JNPT, Jawaharlal Nehru port and the Kamraj port in 1999. So that is why we need, and on the one hand we are talking about Sagarmala, right? Port-led development. And the other hand we have very less ports. And one of the component of the Sagarmala scheme is also creation of the new ports. Okay, and that is why the new ports are really important to boost our whatever exports, right? So if we don't have big ports with a very high big draft, we will not be able to export much. We will always be dependent upon the ports like Hambantota and all these for the large shipments. Okay, so first question comes, what is draft? Very easy. So this is water. You can see this is water line, right? Ship, some part is up, some part is down. So this is the draft. Now imagine this is the port's draft. Okay, now if the port allow this much draft and other ports allow this much draft, which port will support big ships? This port will support big ships. That means if the ports have big draft, big depth, then the big ships can be there. Okay, so Vadhavan port has 18-meter draft naturally available. Okay, so currently we have the ports which have around 15-meter, 16-meter draft. In fact, this is one of the problems in Indian ports. Our draft is very less, and that is why the big transshipment, big ships cannot be parked in India. That have to be located in Singapore or in Hambantota. Then they are broken into smaller ships, then come to India. Similar is with respect to our exports also. So that reduces our economy of scale, isn't it? So world's largest container handling modern deep ports require a draft of at least 18 to 20 meters. What model it will be developed in? It will be developed under the landlocked model. We will discuss landlocked model. So it will be a PPP model with which Vadhavan port will be developed. And also some good things are there. For example, some no land acquisition is required. No displacement is there, right? Some mangroves are also not harmed. So some environmental clearance it also got. The location you can see here, okay, in the Maharashtra. Now a port management model, 2 famous models are there. Service port model, in which everything is public, right? And this, all the public handles everything. That means government handles everything. In this landlord model, landlord means you are the owner of the assets. Publicly governed port authority acts as a regulatory body, and the landlord, as a landlord means they are the governing body. They'll get the payment, but the person who is occupying the room, he will take care of the every small things. Okay, he'll carry out all the operations, cargo handling and everything will be done by the tenants. That means in this case private sector. Very easy. So landlord model and the service port model. Now PPP investment models are in our main syllabus, right? So please take care of it that this question can be asked, because in civil aviation they have already asked question PPP model in the civil aviation, so they can ask question you with respect to this one also, right? Next topic is this is last topic of discussion, relatively small session we have, long term repo operations, LTRO, long term repo operations. So RBI has announced a new liquidity facility under the long term repo operations to inject liquidity into the system. We'll discuss that in detail. So it is a liquidity facility. So RBI has liquidity, many of the liquidity facilities, right? So LAF, liquidity adjustment facility, MSF, all things are there. So what is this LTRO? In LTRO, the RBI will conduct the repo of 1 year and 3 years tenure for the appropriate size up to the 1 lakh crore at the policy repo rate. So let us understand that first of all. So this is a diagram with which we can understand it. Okay. So yes. So the RBI will inject money to the banks, right? So RBI will inject money worth 1 lakh crore to the banks, and the banks have to give the government securities to the RBI, okay, with the matching tenure or the other tenure. Now the money will be given to the banks is for 1 year to the 3 years money to the banks at the prevailing repo rate. So prevailing repo rate is less, and on this repo rate a large amount of money will be given to the bank. So when the bank get a large amount of money at the less repo rate, that means they are injecting liquidity into the market. So the banks will lower the interest rate. So interest rate for the normal people will be less. So the liquidity at the market will be increased. This is done in the context of the COVID-19. So this is one of the steps being taken by the RBI in the monetary policy committee meetings. Okay, so you understood. So RBI will inject money, they will give the government security, and the banks are expected to reduce the interest rate for the customers. Now yes, so the 20 lakh crore package, so one of the component of this 20 lakh crore package is this 1 lakh crore also. Okay, so not only the government efforts but also the RBI's efforts are included into this 20 lakh crore package. Now yes, so what is the difference between already present LAF and MSF and this particular LTRO? These are for a short duration, 1 day to 28 days, but it will be for 1 year to 3 years. So that is the fundamental difference between the two operations. LTRO will lead decline in the short term lending rates of the bank, so that we have discussed. Now as we have discussed, so the government securities demand will increase, GSEC's demand will increase, right? So when the demand will increase, that means the price of the government securities will rise, and when the price will rise, the yield will fall. So we have discussed in detail about the government bonds and the government yields. So you can see that after the announcement, the yields has fallen. You can see 5 year and 3 year especially, they have fallen a lot. Why? Because the demand of these government securities is more. Because as we have seen that the government securities of matching or a higher tenure as a collateral the banks have to give in. So that means demand of these government securities have increased, and hence the yield has decreased. Okay, so the question can come analytical form. They can give you last option that bond yield also decrease. So you can write yes, okay, that's fine. Okay, then with this we finish our session. Let us see what we have discussed. So special economic zone, we started with the discussion. This is Baba Kalyani committee's recommendation we have read. We have also seen the difference between SEZ and NIMZ, where we have done already before. Then Nidhi company we have discussed under the NBFC, corporate Ministry of Corporate Affairs, the regulating authority. Then taxing the global technology company, we have discussed about the equalization levy, that is 2% has to be paid, and earlier the 6% one we have also discussed. Then fully accessible route for government security. So another route, third route, the RBI has opened up for the non-residents to invest in India. Then LLP settlement scheme. We have seen the LLP as a hybrid between the partnership and the company. Then Vadhavan port, we have discussed in Maharashtra. The models, the port management models we have discussed. Then we have discussed LTRO. We have discussed how they want to inject liquidity and what is the impact on the government yield. Okay. So with this, we finish our session on the economy. I hope you have seen our mains master program. Many of the trend analysis just on the other trend. So main master program, many of the trend analysis is already being uploaded on our channel. So we'll try to upload all, we will upload in fact all the trend analysis from GS1 to GS4. Okay, so we will discuss the trend analysis. If you join our prelim master program, sorry, mains master program, we will have 100 really good meticulous planned and very analytical questions that will help you crack the how to solve the answers, and the guidance of our faculties will help you through. Okay, then see you in the next class everyone. Bye bye for now. Thank you.